Mac Physical Education Center here on the campus of Hofstra University. We are starting the second match in this dual meet, this doubleheader today. Hofstra wrestling Harvard earlier today. Had a tough go of it, winning only 3 matches. Now they're taking on Brown, who also had a tough go up at Columbia, falling to the Lions, who ended up taking a perfect 5-0 season in Ivy League action. I'm Olivia Hillstead. Welcome back to Flow if you are returning, or thank you for tuning in now. It's on Flow Sports and YouTube. I'm Olivia Hillstead, like I said, joined by Aiden Pagan for this duel. So my second of the day, most of these guys' second of the day. We're already getting started here at 285 pounds, which was an electric match in the duel earlier today. Just to establish who we got here, we got Alex Semenenko, who's number 14 in the country, against Adrien Sands. The Bears, a brown in the brown singlets, aptly named, and then Hofstra in the blue and white today. But Pagan, it was electric at the end of that duel.
Olivia, electric is a little bit of an understatement there, but I do have to agree. You know, at the same time, Adrien Sands automatically came to wrestle on these mats today, and you could definitely see that in the last match. You know, he couldn't pull out the W, unfortunately, but he really did try there. The level of intensity that he brings to this team was noticed and implemented in every single second of that last match.
Yeah, you had some really good fight there from Sands at the end as the two of them went into overtime, this being his match against Daniel Bittner of Brown. Bittner ultimately got the takedown after some back and forth there, so pretty fun matchup. This one, so far, it's been a little bit more action. Semenenko got that takedown. We're halfway through this first period. He's leading 3-1 right now over Sands. Sands, one of the seniors. That's the other thing. Tonight is senior night, so Adrien Sands got honored along with 3 of his Hofstra teammates. You'll see one of them in the lineup today as well, and then we'll get maybe a little bit of the footage from that ceremony. Around halftime, we're going to call 5 matches, take a little break, back for 5 more.
Absolutely, and something that you could definitely take away from a dual matchup today, two duels in one. You've got a 2-duel day, a double duel day, whatever you want to call it. These Ivy League programs, man, they will stop at nothing, Olivia, and it is just so amazing to see. And I mean, Alex Semenenko, the 285-pound senior from Brooklyn, New York, went to Poly Prep High School in Bay Ridge, automatically showing his intensity right now. He won't fall for anything here.
Got about 20 seconds left in this first period. Score still 3-1. Yeah, Semenenko earlier today at Columbia actually lost to Vincent Mueller, number 28 ranked in the country. So they're both of these guys coming off of losses today. So one nice thing about if you're also wrestling your second match is your opponent probably is too. So we'll be checking in and out on those throughout the night. But that's going to do it for the first period. 3-1 your score. Sands is going to defer, and Semenenko will take bottom here.
Absolutely, and that perspective, Olivia, you don't know what your opponent is going to come to your mats with, especially if they're going to be in your house. You don't know what Semenenko is bringing from Columbia when he was facing the Lions over there in Manhattan. You don't really know what kind of technique he's going to bring to Hempstead, but you really just have to see and wait. And especially you also have to notice how Sands actually responds to it in his technique under head coach Jamie Franco.
So Semenenko got the escape there, make it 4-1. Starting to get a little bit more aggressive with his attacks. Tap the knee on Sands there. Sands now getting a little bit more aggressive. A high crotch attempt there. Semenenko's got a nice lock here on the body. Looked like he was going to go for a trip on Sands on the edge of the mat. He does get a trip, and so we'll get another takedown. Move it to 7-1 with a minute left in the second period. Slick little move there from Semenenko.
The number 14 ranked Alex Semenenko really using all of the tight techniques that he can on Adrien Sands. He can't create any spaces because Sands can definitely get out of those.
Sands tried to work for a leg there. Wasn't able to. Ref getting some counts there. They'll go out of bounds.
Olivia, you have to think in these 285-pound matchups, the intensity is so great, and I know that we've talked about this several times over, but I just can't not get a kick out of it. It's something that can't go unnoticeable, and I'm not saying that because it's the biggest weight out of all 10. You really see what these guys can do, and at first you think, oh, I wonder what he can do in the largest weight possible, but then you automatically see it, and it's like groundbreaking work.
So Semenenko with this assassin here, trying to get Sands on his back in a really uncomfortable position. He's at least getting near fall for the exposure. He's not going to get enough for a pin, but that's going to be 4 near fall to put him up 11-1. We're going to look back at that trip from Semenenko. Really slick. He's got this body lock, reaching there, just gets him over. Fun fact about him, he's also a member of the Judo World Team. So that's where you see some trips like that, a little savvy on his feet.
That's where you also see that quick technique, too, how Semenenko is very quick to the backside of his opponents. You see that a lot in judo, especially at the world level.
Semenenko on top to start this third period. Your score is 11-1. In order to win by technical fall, you need to be 15 points ahead of your opponent. So Semenenko probably going to work for some near fall points. He'll let Sands up to his feet, so it's going to be 2-11 right now. Semenenko's pretty much locked up the writing time. Got almost 2 minutes there. You're totally right, though, that heavyweight is it's honestly my favorite. I like when a night ends with that, as Sands had maybe a shot attempt there. Semenenko, though, gets to leg, goes single to double, get another takedown. Be 14-2 with a minute left. He's going to let Sands up, or not quite. Just wanted him to get to his feet so he could try to set something up. Hofstra bench trying to spur some action from Sands. Referee stops the action, so get reset here. Semenenko's going to elect to start in neutral, so he'll give up a point, so 3-14 your score. If Semenenko gets a takedown in the next about a little over 30 seconds, he'll put this one away and put 5 points on the board already for the Bears.
Semenenko also trying to be strategic with his time management here against Hofstra. That's another thing that you can notice with this 285-pound weight class. When you have opponents that are on really the bigger side of size, you want to be able to use your time wisely for sure.
Little headgear came off there, all good. Some hand fighting and getting aggressive. It's two tied up on their feet. Short time, though, in this third period. Semenenko on the legs, and he'll get another takedown, and so that'll put this one, not quite put this one away. But that's going to do it for time. Semenenko's going to get another point for writing time to make it 18-3, and so it is going to be a win by technical fall, even though it went the whole time. So that's going to be 5 points for Brown on the board. But looking at coaching staff here, two fairly young coaches. What do you got, Ian?
And also head coach from Brown University, particularly, is Mr. Jared Lean. He joined in 2022, but he is no stranger to the Ivy League as he graduated from Cornell University in 2009. That is his alma mater, and he's also an All-American, four-time NCAA qualifier with 118-29 career record with the Brown University Bears. As I say again, absolutely no stranger to the Ivy League.
We're already rolling here at 125 pounds. Teague Strobel making really quick work of his opponent, Chase Yasutake, out of Hawaii. Strobel already got the takedown and 4 near fall. He's feeling hot, I guess, after a frustrating 12-7 loss earlier today. But Strobel, one of those guys he's increased in his confidence as the season's gone on. Pagan, you were here for the LIU duel where he had a really nice win. Talk to him after about that.
Yeah, and absolutely, it was one of those interesting conversations that I had with Teague Strobel where I wanted to ask him after the win, what was going through your mind? What were you feeling? But all I could say was, how does your mindset change from facing a team like Army in that previous duel, Army West Point, the Black Knights up in upstate New York, to facing the LIU Sharks in more of a local at-home matchup? And he said that there's no change in his mindset at all, and that he just listens to his coaches and that he takes the trust of his coaches very seriously because they know what he can do when he gets out on the mat.
Yeah, a guy who's increased in confidence, like we said, this season. He's taken on freshmen, though Strobel, young guy himself, only a sophomore, has been the starter here at 125. Little update on where we're at halfway through this first period, and Strobel has completely dominated so far, 11-0 after getting that takedown, or multiple takedowns, or one takedown, couple points from near fall getting exposure. He's working a front headlock right now on his opponent here. Yasutake trying to get out of this. Strobel's got the head ducked and an underhook.
Well, the 5'6" sophomore, 125-pound weight class Teague Strobel from Westminster, South Carolina, went to West Oak previously before joining the Hofstra Pride. Definitely automatically dominating here, Olivia. You put it best before. I mean, already putting 11 on the board and trying to benefit this Hofstra Pride team. I mean, Teague also talks about this constantly, putting points on the board and how important it is. And he definitely talked about that in the presser against LIU.
So he's going to go let Yasutake up. So that's going to be an escape for him. Strobel would need more than a takedown to go ahead and put this match away early. It looks like we're going to get... So he's going to get a takedown before this first period's done. Going into the second period, up 14-1. Like I said, you need 15 points ahead of your opponent to automatically put the match away. They're going to go neutral here. So all Strobel needs is another takedown. On the other side, Yasutake just has to score on his own to stay in this. Strobel getting underhook here.
Olivia, do you ever notice how Teague Strobel always uses that shoulder grab down technique as his way to not only assert dominance really, but to get himself into a great position?
Yeah, it's a nice little technique, bringing the guy down. Not quite a snap, but yeah, pulling him to you. You do have to watch that you're not pulling him to your legs, but what's helpful is if they really fight in, they come up, that opens them up well. But Strobel able to use what you just said, and he gets the takedown to win this match. 17-1, technical fall. So we're all tied up here. 5-5 is your score right now. Might be a high-scoring dual meet, quite possibly, as we have 2 tech falls already. But we're going to move to 133 pounds. But talked about the Brown coach for a little bit. Here we've also got Jamie Franco, head coach of the Pride, his alma mater.
Definitely Jamie Franco, class of 2014. His second season as Hofstra head coach, served on the Hofstra staff from 2016 to 2023, and had a great wrestling career on the Hofstra Pride. Now he's giving back to the younger generation, these younger athletes, as a head coach.
At 133 pounds, we have Douglas Shipers for Brown and Gage Shipp for Hofstra, also in his second match. He was one of 3 guys to win in this earlier duel against Harvard. Already in on the leg here. Nice little trip there. The Hofstra bench gets audible on that one, so it'll be a takedown for Shipp. Like I said earlier today, he won by decision 5-2 in a pretty tight match, but he's on a bit of a win streak now, having won against Army and LIU. Quite possibly 1 or 2 more before that, actually, so he's feeling good. Like we said about Strobel, he's one of those guys who has gained confidence as the season has gone on and as he's gotten used to being the starter. Tries to get a leg there, but Shippers with a nice little re-attack. Shipp does well to battle out of that. Did a good job of reaching down for the arm and pulling him up to avoid the takedown. It's two pretty dynamic here. About 2 minutes left in this first period, Shipp leading 3-1.
Shipp actually got his 17th win of the season against the LIU Sharks after getting his 16th against the Army West Point Black Knights. And I asked him in that post-match interview, I just said, Gage, what sets number 17 apart? And he said being back home and wrestling in front of these fans. And you could definitely see, especially on a senior day, how important these fans are to not only the seniors, but to the whole roster.
It's going to be another takedown there for Shipp. Starting to cruise in this one. Now, might get to work what's kind of become his bread and butter with this tilt right here. Trying to work it. He's got a bar, and then he's holding the wrist of that arm that he has the bar set up on. Just really tight. Now he's still got that bar. He has to not lift that hand. Talking about his right hand, not lift it too high. That's what the referee's watching to make sure he's good. But he's using that bar really well to try to set up at least a tilt, if not a pin here. If he can drop his hips and lift his head, he's going to put Shippers in a really, really uncomfortable position. See, now is working for the pin. He'll just get for near fall there. As Shipp is starting to run away with this one as well.
Shipp wasting 0 time, and I mean 0 time against his opponent.
He's going to set up that bar again. He's got to watch the hand. He's able to use the same tilt multiple times because he unlocked it and let his opponent reset. You can't keep the same thing and not adjust. But he's going to switch out to the front here to try to catch Shippers on his back for a pin. Shippers trying to bridge, but it's a really uncomfortable spot with this lock that Shipp has. Shipp needs to get shoulder blades on the mat, and that's going to do it. It's going to be a pin for Gage Shipp as he gives finger guns to the Hofstra bench. Huge win for the Pride here. Puts him up 6 more points as Shipp continues to cruise in this season. So we're going to watch this one more time, this takedown here. Gets to the leg. Nice trip there from Shipp. But we're going to go ahead and move to 141 pounds. We got Chase Leardi for Hofstra. Pagana, local guy. You've talked with Leardi a little bit about he's been a leader on this team. Heard Franco talk about him. Saw him honored with his family earlier.
Absolutely, and not only a senior that you could definitely say has left his footprint in these mats here in Hempstead, but you could also see the general impact that he's made on every single guy throughout the entire roster. And I mean, a Massapequa native, he's already bringing that Long Island power to Hofstra, and he's definitely done that in all 4 years that he's been here. But also, I believe he did spend some time at Ohio State with the Buckeyes, but then once he heard about Jamie Franco coming to town, he had to join the team and put on a Hofstra Pride uniform.
Yeah, we already spent that year, the season at Ohio State, where he posted an 11-2 record, so very impressive. He's had some adjustments since coming back here to Hofstra, back to the island. He's coming back from injury, but has steadily improved as the season goes on. But haven't even introduced his opponent. We got Kamari Mans, who is ranked as high as number 32 in the country. He's a freshman from Brown. It's going to prove to be a tough opponent for Leardi. Leardi, one of those guys who got a win earlier today. Decision 3-0 over Dante Frinzi of Harvard. Only Leardi's 5th win of the season, which isn't really reflective of how he's been wrestling. He's been pretty good, getting better as the season goes on.
Kamari Mans, a 141-pound freshman from Lyndhurst, Ohio, went to St. Edward's High School over there in Ohio. And, I mean, to have a ranking like that in the country as a freshman versus someone who is in that senior class, it's highly impressive, and you can't just overlook something like that.
Brown is coming in with 4 ranked wrestlers, including Mans. 1 more up at 149 and then 197, and you just saw Semenenko at 285. Hofstra is coming in with 1 ranked wrestler being Jake Slotnick, but Gage Shipp, who you just saw, has been up in the RPI rankings as high as number 27. That win might help him out a little bit. Pretty nice pin there to end his day. Mans got on the leg there. This is still a scoreless match, about 40 seconds left in this first period now. These two have stalled out for the first time. They've been pretty dynamic moving across the mat. Both guys trying to work angles and find a way to get in.
Mans is also being very patient with his setup time, and also it's kind of like he's logistically trying to figure out what he's going to do, really planning things first by hand right in front of him against Chase Leardi.
Leardi with a shot on the leg in the crackdown position. Going to try to lift that ankle and climb the body. Mans is going to try to pull him over with that body lock he has. Leardi trying to pull that knee into him. Needs to get his head up, but that's not going to be enough time. This first period winds down. Still scoreless in this match here. Leardi, like we said, one of those seniors who's been honored. Started wrestling at age 6, so he's been doing this for a very long time. Has spent a few seasons here in Hofstra. He said all of the seniors who were honored today got asked what they will miss most about this program, and he said the guys coming into practice with them, working with them. He's started to really find his voice as the leader this season and the last couple of seasons. This is for this very young squad as one of the older members.
That family aspect is definitely super important in wrestling for sure, because you spend every single day of your athletic career with this group of guys on the mat, whether it's, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, whatever the level may be. These are the people that you're growing with and around in order to get better and get to that top level. And it's just great to see these seniors from Hofstra acknowledge that and acknowledge those who made them great and put them in the positions that they are today.
So still scoreless over 30 seconds into this second period. Leardi's got the leg, but Mans did a good job of trying to work out of that, but Leardi will stay on top. Mans going bold and trying to reach back, not normally common advice. But he's really fighting, trying to get to his feet. Leardi doing a good job of staying tight to the body and using some different claws to stay on. Went out of bounds there, so get reset here in the center. 1 minute and 8 seconds on your clock.
Leardi patiently waiting.
Well, not so patient. He just got a caution because he
Yeah,
started
that
too
was-
quick.
I
get what
mean-
you're saying. He's been waiting for his opportunities in this match. In this match, and that's something when you have so much experience like Leardi, you know when you have an opportunity. Really nice mat return there, but he's not going to rush things. He's not going to start doing crazy stuff. Mans is starting to try to work out of there. You saw some of those rolls, sit out, turn in.
Olivia, there was a whole roll performance there. I don't know if you missed that or not. There
No,
was
I
a whole elaborate roll performance that just happened there. It was like one after the other in some domino effect movement. And mind you, Leardi is wrestling a freshman.
So what you saw there was a man's trying to sit out and turn in, and it's actually a very common drill you see in the practice room where one guy will sit out, turn in on bottom. The other guy has to stay tight to the body and follow. So they're both familiar with this position. The question really is who can beat the other in that spot, who can get the most distance. But they're going to go out of bounds. They've gone out of bounds quite a few times. 31 seconds left. Still scoreless in this one. very tight match compared to the other ones we've seen so far tonight. Getting set once again. Man's up to his feet, but Leardi is just doing a great job of if he has to drop down to the legs, dropping down to the legs. If he has to do a mat return lifting, Man's returning him. Hasn't really gotten much of an offense started on top. Makes sense. Mans has put a lot of effort, probably the most effort I've seen maybe the whole day between the Harvard duel and this duel to get to his feet. Though the referee, as I say that, is going to give him a stall warning saying that he's not trying to improve, but I blame that on the end of the second period. So we are scoreless going into this third and final period. Leardi's going to take bottom, so he's going to attempt to get out and maybe score a takedown, get some offense going at least. He's got 2 minutes of riding time. Mans is going to try his best on top. He's getting good pressure right now, using that head to kind of create, thinking about making a lever there. He's got Leardi's arm trapped. Leardi will get that out. Starting to build to his feet. Big lift there from Mans, but Leardi is able to roll and get out of that for an escape. Mans now feeling the pressure, wants to get going. Leardi trying to use the arm there. Mans on the leg. Leardi almost hitting the splits on the edge of the mat here. They're going to go out of bounds, but some nice attack, re-attack there from the two of them.
Some nice escape, attack, re-attack, kind of domino effect work that you could see there. That's something that you always see with these young guys because they're super hyper as soon as they hit the mat.
So benches get into that one, saying that someone started a little bit early on the whistle, but it's okay. Both the benches are really into, or the brown bench more so is into this one. Franco's been on his feet pretty much the whole duel though. Mans on the leg. It's not a takedown yet. Less than a minute remaining. Thought about getting Leardi's head there. Said he's going to reach around for the far ankle. Referee hasn't called it a takedown yet, but if you're the brown bench, you're pretty darn close. One referee is calling it a takedown. Jamie Franco is going to throw the brick. He's going to ask for a review and challenge that call, saying it wasn't a takedown. In a wrestling duel meet, the coaches get one brick. You throw it if you have a challenge. If you win that challenge, you get the brick back. If you don't win, you're done for the night. But this is a good match and a good, it's a good call on Franco's part to throw the brick here. A ranked opponent against one of your guys. We're going to see if it's a takedown here. See, Leardi's arm is still in what we call a whizzer here, reaching under and over onto his own leg probably, which is keeping this from being a takedown. If Mans was able to get out of that, yeah, you see Leardi there grabbing his shin whizzer, if you will. Mans didn't break that lock, though. Was able to reach around. So Mans was practicing good technique. Leardi still had that arm, so was keeping himself barely into this match. Mans trying to dive under the arm. See here, this is where you could start to make the argument if you're brown. Leardi barely staying in. This is a complicated one, and they were still in bounds for all of that. Leardi still had his heel in.
And Olivia, with that same technique move where Mans was kind of getting his face pushed back and blocked there for a second, that's the toughest situation to be in, but it all comes down to the official's call.
Yeah. So referee's going to call no takedown there. It's going to go in favor of Hofstra. Oh, wait. Maybe there's... This is getting a little bit heated. Because the scoreboard put 3 on. Believe it was called no takedown though. So still 1-0 with Leardi leading. He's still got a minute 25 of riding time, 38 seconds. Could hear the Hofstra fans get into it. Leardi obviously has his family here, some of the senior families. Got some other guests in the MAC today, but it's been a busy day around Hempstead with wrestling, obviously having 2 duels for Hofstra, but it's also high school wrestling over in the basketball arena.
Yes, absolutely. You've got the Nassau County Section 8, I believe, championships.
Yeah, so we're going to look at the escape from Leardi, the only official points while we're waiting for this review. Leardi got to his feet. Mans tried to lift. Leardi rolled through there on a kind of a Granby roll. He'll get through Mans. Right on the attack, though. Seen a lot of aggression out of the freshman, really pushing the pace. It's really great to see sometimes Leardi will be a little bit too decisive. We talked about this. And so it's good to have an opponent that's challenging him, forcing him to go on some offense. See Franco eagerly awaiting this call. This is his guy. He's been working with Leardi probably since Leardi started wrestling, frankly. At the youth level, middle school, high school. I believe was his private coach in high school. Wanted to come back and continue to learn under him. Mans quick on the attack, though. We're back in action here. Like I said, no takedown was given. Mans quickly trying to make that not a factor, though. Tried to reach for Leardi's leg. Leardi did a good job of squaring. Stuck in this front headlock, though. Needs to fight out of this. Mans really pushing him here. Trying to get to the leg on the body in this 50-50. He'll throw Leardi, but Leardi is able to get up and cover there, trying to go for a takedown of his own. Reaching across for the knee. This is some unorthodox as Leardi stands on his head quite literally. Hofstra bench on their feet. He's got his sister yelling in the stands. This is starting to become a very interesting match. Man starts early. You got 2 seconds on the clock. And that'll do it, and Leardi will walk away with the victory here as he motions for the crowd in a really tight matchup. But that was the sequence that really put it away for him. He's going to put 3 more on the board for Hofstra. Nice ranked win for Leardi, but we're going to look one more time at this. Oh my gosh, could have been over there for Man. Man's going to put that one away if he caught Leardi on his back, but Leardi adjusts really well. His arms are all over the place here. Very unorthodox, literally stands on his head, like I said, as they go out of bounds and is able to stay in this one. The Brown coach is not very happy with that, but got to be proud of your freshman who did go out there and put on a good performance against a graduate student.
Then again, Olivia, Leardi knew what he had to do out there. And I mean, to be in Brown's perspective and to be in their shoes and to put one of your freshmen against one of those veteran level wrestlers like Leardi, that's just amazing in and of itself. And I mean, you really can't look at it as a win or loss type of situation. You just have to see what was done and what could be fixed in the future.
Moving on to 149 pounds, we have Alex Turley for Hofstra and Austin McBurney. Like I said, another one of those ranked guys, number 29 in the country, already on the takedown here on Turley.
Turley, the 149-pound redshirt junior, 5'8", from St. Louis, Missouri. Went to Webster Groves for school before coming to Hofstra.
If you're wondering about the team score, Hofstra's up 14-5 right now. Would only be their 4th victory of this season. Like I said, this is IV versus EIWA matchup here, so not conference, but getting wins in matches against ranked opponents is going to be helpful for rankings, RPI, allocations in the national championships. So still want to put on a good showing here. The 2 are going to get reset, a little less than 2 minutes left here. Still the first period, 3-0.
Facing those ranked opponents are definitely going to get these guys on the Hofstra Pride ready for the EIWAs as they go into that later next month in March. And that's definitely something important because you want to build those habits. And if you're head coach Jamie Franco, you want your guys to get as much experience as possible before postseason time comes around.
Yeah, we're getting right to the end of the season pretty much. Hofstra has this duel, a duel against Rutgers, hosting Big Ten opponent on Wednesday. And then they travel to George Mason for the Patriot Last Chance Open. And then it's the conference championships. McBurney working on top here, trying to set up a bar on Turley. He's got his arm trap, though. Turley needs to open up on bottom if he doesn't want to get hit. A stall call, and that's going to be the stall call there. You do have to be active on bottom. About a minute left. You can tell that McBurney is starting to get really upset at this situation. If you ask my family if I've been here, they'll say yes and point out that on my senior night, I was in the same spot, and I got hit with a, what do you call it? I was being too aggressive on top, and we had to reset.
Well, that's
unnecessary roughness.
you know, with these stall calls that we've talked about all night, they can either make or break you. It's a very, you know, double-sided thing. You don't know what's going to happen with them, but ultimately they teach you how to be a disciplined wrestler, whether you like them or not.
Yeah. McBurney got that wrist. He's got to be careful with that arm, but putting Turley in a really uncomfortable position. Switches to a bar. Short time, though, in this first period. We'll see if he's able to run it. The time is going to expire. 4-0 is your score right now going into the second period. If you were listening to the first duel, we talked a little about Turley's got quite the rap situation going on, but that earlier duel had some blood time that they had to take care of, training staff taking care of him. McBurney working on top once again.
But Turley does not let that rap situation stop him. That's one amazing thing about his intensity, his attitude as a wrestler. He doesn't let anything that's considered a limitation stop him from performing at the best that he can.
Turley has been starter at 149 so far this season. Becoming one of the older guys now. Starting to find his place after only competing in 7 matches last season for Hofstra. McBurney starting to pick up the pace here after Turley got that escape. 4-1 your score halfway through the second period now. Just two pummeling in. McBurney trying to go for a shot there. Turley getting a little aggressive on the edge of the mat. Turley, multiple-time scholar, All-American, very good in the classroom. Super nice guy, but what's funny is he gets on the mat and he gets pretty aggressive, gets into it. It's a good thing to see. You can see it here. McBurney also starting to get pretty aggressive. Turley on a leg. He's going to try to pull McBurney in. Try to reach across and cover. So he's working for the takedown. Fans calling for a takedown. After bench calling for a takedown. Referee's going to call it out of bounds. They're going to go back on their feet. Once again, we have a, is that a takedown call? We've seen Turley be in that exact position, actually, against Army, having to pull that opponent back in. It's normally a good sign that you are in control. Not very good indicator on your opponent who might be trying to flee the mat. 5-1 your score right now. Though McBurney has quite a lot of riding time. Over 3 minutes of riding time. He's going to take bottom going into this third period. After this, take a little break. We'll watch some of the senior night stuff maybe and then come back for 5 more matches. So we're already about halfway through this dual meet.
Absolutely, and even on senior night, you know, you see the intensity that these guys bring. They don't let their guard down for anything, and, you know, we've talked about that several times before, but these senior guys, you could just see the impact that they leave on the younger guys on the team, and that's so great because now these younger guys can implement the lessons that are taught from the seniors into their matches and ultimately win.
Turley got to the leg there. McBurney with that underhook in the front headlock. Gonna reach down for Turley's leg. Gets around, gets the takedown really easy there. It looked like Turley maybe tried to duck under to create some offense, but just got caught. Turley's quick to his feet, though, for an escape. Score now 9-2 in favor of McBurney. Minute left in this third period. So he'll get around, get another 3, let Turley up again. 12-3, your score right now. Excuse me, 12-3. So McBurney trying to work for that tech fall territory, possibly. He's got the win by major decision locked up unless Turley can get some offense going. Less than 30 seconds. So it'd be a nice win for the Bears. So they have one more ranked wrestler, as Hofstra has one of their own. See them later in this dual meet.
10 seconds.
Bernie trying to work in there. Short time here. And it looks like he's going to be able to put it away with the win by major decision, 13-3. Going to add 4 more points for Brown's score, make it 14-9 here in the Physical Education Center.
Absolutely, you can go ahead and put that score on the board and in the books for this Hofstra Pride team. That's definitely something you want to see kind of at the midpoint of a duel, especially on a double duel day.
So that's halfway through this duel. We're going to come back, talk some senior night stuff, watch the last 5 matches of this busy day here in Hempstead. Once again, I'm Olivia Hilstead, joined by Aiden Pagan. You're watching on Flow Sports or YouTube.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Marty Connor for your personal price plan today.
The Hofstra Bookstore is your official store for all your Hofstra merchandise. Make sure to sign up with your email in order to receive coupons and discounts for future purchases. Stop by the store in the Student Center or shop online at hofstra.bncollege.com.
QFA's 5-star offense maximizes client returns while the 5-star defense generates additional current income while mitigating risk. To learn more, reach out to co-founder and Hofstra alumni Joe Rinaldi or register on their website at qfainc.com.
Apple Bank opened its doors over 160 years ago.
And back then, it was all about one-on-one banking. In today's world, banking's all about easy and convenient, and saving you time for the moments that matter.
We get that, but sometimes you need to speak with someone to make it happen. And at Apple Bank, that's what we still do. One-on-one service since the day we first opened.
Welcome to Apple Bank. How can I help you?
Easy, convenient, personal banking.
Apple Bank, your neighbor, your bank, since 1863.
I wasn't born a leader.
It wasn't given to me.
I couldn't buy it.
How'd I get here?
I decided.
I decided.
I decided.
I decided. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
color to life with the very best paint. Only at Sherwin-Williams.
Taking a look here, now it's senior night. 4 of the Hofstra seniors getting honored. Matt Rogers, who you see right there with his family, hugging all the Hofstra coaches. Then we got Chase Leardi, Eric Schindel, and Adrien Sands all being honored. A couple of these guys really impactful for the program. When asked what they'd miss about Hofstra, just about every guy mentioned just how close they are as a team, how they go out for food, they hang out together, all those things. Looking at stats so far in this matchup, 14-9 your score. Hofstra winning 3 of those 5 matches. Looking at takedowns, though, the Bears lead 7-5. Well, Hofstra pretty confident in their escapes. 7-4. Looking at total match points, 36-33. We're going to see some of those takedowns and escapes. Look at this one from Leardi. Managed to avoid getting taken down here. Created his own offense. Stayed in this match. Literally stood on his head. Might be one of my favorite moments from the day, frankly.
I might have to agree on that, actually. Now that I think about it, if I pick a favorite moment, it's that right there, and that escape from Leardi as well.
Leardi showing what he knows against this ranked opponent, the freshman Mans. Followed well. And we got Shipp on his win streak, putting this one away with a pin. Really nice here with this kind of unorthodox spot. Got the head really tight, lifted. And we got one more of Leardi here on the leg here. Mans tries to lift him, keeps his lock. But that was the first half of action. Still got 5 more matches. So we're in this second duel. We've got some alumni and some current wrestlers on the side here. Darius Clark. We got Zach Riley. We got Dennis Papadopoulos up there, if you caught him in the hat. Former head coach. Was actually one of the first people I met here at Hofstra. Kind of convinced me to come here, actually. We were, I was touring the school, and he was at the physical education little booth they had set up, and I went over and talked to him. Coincidentally, was the wrestling coach, and he actually had the transfer portal open on his laptop and was recruiting while he was talking to me. But really nice to meet him before I even decided to go to Hofstra. Obviously coached quite a few seasons here before Jamie Franco, now in his 2nd season. But still, Papadopoulos still working for Hofstra, involved, still cares about this program a lot, coming out a lot. Anyway, we're here at 157 pounds. Continuing our action, we got Frank Volpi against Ethan Mojena.
Mojena, in the 2024-25 season, posted a 12-11 overall record on the season at just 149 pounds.
Volpi, the redshirt sophomore, one of these local guys out of Hot Pog. Nothing so far in this match. Talked about when Volpi was wrestling earlier today, sometimes a bit unique, as Franco has said. Tends to respond really well to his opponent's offense.
Something that I've always noticed, even when watching past duels, Olivia, is just how patient Volpi is. He kind of waits to see what his opponent wants to do first, then bases his interpretation and his response off of that. And something about Volpi, and you tell me if you've seen this too, he's not really the first one to jump in a match. He's more on that waiting side of things.
Yeah, like I said, Volpi definitely responds to his opponents, not just by using their attacks, but Franco has talked about how it's almost the bigger the match, the better for Volpi. He likes the bright lights and tends to respond well. There's a saying, like, you play as well as your opponent, or you play to the level of your opponent, and he's one of those guys who definitely wrestles better against better guys, as funny as that sounds.
One of those humble opponents, too, in Volpi for sure. I mean, not only trying to set an example for all the Hofstra pride, but really just showing an overall humble performance and attitude in all of his matches.
Both these guys getting some looks, but nothing too great as we get towards the end of this first period, scoreless. Mojena is going to take bottom. Like we said, Brown wrestled earlier today. Mojena losing to number 20, Kai Owen, in Columbia's win. Columbia also beat Hofstra pretty badly this season, but the Lions are kind of on a roll. 5-0 in conference matches. Very competitive conference, the Ivy League. Volpi on a shot here. I'll talk about the Ivy League later, I guess. But Mojena does a really good job of defending that as they go out of bounds, but right idea from Volpi. About minute 20 left in this second period. Mojena leading 1-0 from that escape. Pushes Volpi there, starting to try to spur him into some more action. Mojena's taking a knee so he can stay low. This Volpi definitely is looking for a shot now that he's felt what it's like to get in on the legs.
Volpi's trying to understand his opponent as best as possible. Also trying to be timely in all of his approaches as well.
Still good amount of time in this really close match. Checking in on the score, 14-9. Hofstra still leading. Though Brown has one more ranked wrestler coming up at 197. He'll take on Will Conlin. That'll be a really good matchup for Conlin to see where he's at in the season. Back to this 157-pound matchup. Short time left in this second period. Score still 1-0. So we're getting to a bit of a barn burner here. Volpi's going to start on bottom, looking to get an escape and tie up this match. Volpi with only 4 seconds of riding time, so that's not likely to end up being a factor. Volpi to his feet. Mojena following really well, staying really tight to the body with his hands there. Trying to pull Volpi back down, but Volpi getting really aggressive with it. Has to be careful that he doesn't get caught on his back. Rolling there. Nice little sit-out turn in, and so he'll get the escape. Makes this 1-1. Minute and a half in this third period.
Quick movements there for Volpi. That's another thing about him, quick on his feet. I mean, you really have no choice but to be quick on your feet in this sport, but Volpi definitely takes it to a whole other level. It's like his feet are moving at like 100 miles an hour, if that's even possible.
I think when Volpi gets going, he's hard to stop. He just got to get going. As he gets him here, though, putting himself in dangerous position as Mojena is able to flip and get control of his own. That was a lot of dynamic exchange there. So Mojena ultimately got the takedown there, but Volpi tried to stick him, catch him on his back. unable to. Mojena now using that bar. Short time in this third period, but pretty competitive match. That was the most exciting moment.
There were some arms that were flailing there during that segment of movements. That was really tough. But Brown ultimately trying their best to respond on that end.
So that's going to do it with Mojena taking the victory by decision there. Looking at this exchange, once again, Volpi tried to pressure into Mojena, but in doing so ended up kind of on his back, which allowed Mojena to step over and adjust to cover. So this score is getting really tight here, 14-12. Hofstra leading by 2. We have 4 more matches here. This could be another pretty good matchup. We got Max Norman for Brown and Jake Slotnick for Hofstra, ranked by the coaches poll number 30, RPI number 26. He's been very consistent for Hofstra so far this season, the most consistent guy on the team, as Franco has said. If you tuned into Harvard, talked about how he's got his brother on the team now, Jackson Slotnick, freshman. You're not going to see him wrestle tonight, but one thing Franco has emphasized this season is that he likes to recruit guys who have a connection on the team. Talked about that family aspect a little bit. Slotnick doing a good job of pressuring so far on Norman.
Brother-like-brother relationship right there, even on the mats and on the side, on the bench. That's definitely something interesting for the Slotnick family.
Watch the two of them interact. They crack me up a little bit. Very brotherly. Franco was getting on them saying they don't really hang out, but they were like, no, you do.
As brothers might, but that's such an interesting family dynamic, just making its way onto the mats. That really does show the family aspect, as we've said.
You see Jackson over, we see the bench again. He's got his hoodie, got his feet up. Not too stressed about his brother right now.
He's not really that vocal during his brother's matches. I wonder how it is vice versa. I wonder what Chase is going to say when his brother is on the mat. That's something I need to wait for.
So Slotnick is trying to come out the back door there, but Norman locks his ankles. It's going to be called stalemate as neither wrestler was working to improve. Slotnick obviously hasn't put any points on the board, but he's done a good job of controlling center of the mat and has been the one on offense. About a minute left in this first period. Like I said, scoreless.
And Max Norman, the 165-pound freshman from Kingsport, Tennessee, Baylor High School alum, definitely wasting no time here, really trying to logistically figure out his opponent.
Norman tries to get an angle there. Slotnick pushing away.
30 seconds.
These two still working up top. About 15 seconds left in this scoreless match. Getting a couple of close matches as we get into this duel. Started with some fireworks. Got a couple of tech falls there, that pin early on. Now these guys have kind of started to find their rhythm.
The match has definitely taken more of a rhythmic vibe to it, a little bit less hectic, something different than we're used to seeing out of today's duel, but it's definitely interesting to see the unique approaches of both these athletes.
Both these guys coming off of losses earlier today. Slotnick lost by major decision 11-0 against his opponent from Harvard. where Norman is coming off of a loss to number 17, Cesar Alvin of Colombia. Slotnick gets the escape to put himself on the board here. Funny about talking about Alvin in Colombia, Slotnick beat him earlier this season, 8-6. That was one of his best wins of the season, a ranked win. It's definitely helped in the coaches poll and the RPI rankings. Slotnick starting to get a little bit more aggressive. You can hear the hands, heavy hands from these two. Norman with the underhook here. Both guys with an underhook. About 40 seconds left in the second period.
This is that frozen, like, midsection stance right here, if that even makes sense. That's such a tough position to be in for both opponents, because you want to try to go for the leg, and that's something that you notice a lot of these athletes doing, because that automatically wipes out your opponent, but it automatically comes down to being smart with your approach.
The nature of folk style wrestling.
I would be terrified, and I've never wrestled Olivia, so I would be I would be on that terrified part of the ladder there.
Folk style, a little bit of a slower style compared to freestyle and Greco, which you see at the Olympics, and you see women wrestling freestyle in college, actually. I'm going to insert this here. Brown has a club women's team trying to become a D1 program, as those have been added in the last few years. Lehigh of the EIWA, one of the few teams to have a D1 women's wrestling team.
So great to see the sport grow like that, and it's wonderful to even have wrestling in the area of women's sports growing rapidly and really just trying to make a name for itself, and that's a part of history, and that's something that you want to follow.
While we were talking about those, Slotnick got to work getting the takedown there. Norman got the escape. Slotnick getting that takedown. 4-1 your score, little over a minute in this third period. Norman's gonna get out though again. Make it 4-2 and try to narrow up this match. These two getting aggressive. You just saw some head pushing, some hair getting moved there. It's got Slotnick in a front headlock. He's gonna try to run around to the side or tap Slotnick, break him down. So we're kind of on the edge of the map. Brown coach is calling for Norman to get around or to pull him back in. Franco calling for some action for Slotnick. 47 seconds. Don't want to sit on your heels. Shot from Slotnick. Referee is going to give a stall warning on Norman. Slotnick building to his feet. Norman's going to throw him though and catch him on his back. Slotnick manages to back out of that one and avoid. We're going to see what the referee calls as that wasn't anything yet. Norman now trying to get some neutral exposure from Slotnick. Slotnick holding onto this ankle to prevent the takedown. Trying to roll Slotnick now, trying to build, gets out of that. They go out of bounds. Stall warning on Slotnick there. Score is 4-2, but it looks like we're gonna review that call.
Brown threw in their red brick, automatically wanting to use their opportunity on that.
Yeah, so refs are gonna take a moment to look this over, but went from nothing to a lot. The whole Brown bench, I think, jumped out of their chairs on that one. Would be a good win for the freshman Max Norman after a ranked opponent. Talking to their coaches now. 12 seconds on the board. So we're going to look at what might be a takedown. Slotnick on the legs, but look at this throw from Norman. Gets his arm in that overhook. Gets his hips. Chuck Slotnick has him on his back for a second, but Slotnick did a really good job of responding and not staying there in this awkward spot here too, seeing that back flexibility. Held on to Norman's ankle to prevent him from getting a takedown. Ref's gonna call that nothing, saying that Norman didn't establish control. But good call on the part of the Brown coaches. 4-2 is your score right now with just a few seconds left. Slotnick still leading this match, but he's got a stall warning, so he needs to be careful here. He's gonna hit with it again. Is going to be 4-3, your final score here as Slotnick walks away with the win. We're going to look at this takedown from Slotnick in this match. Reached down for that ankle, covered, got that half with a bar in this interesting spot. But he was able to cover the body on Norman. Win that match, moves the Pride up 17-12 in what's becoming really good dual meet so far. Only a couple matches left, but how do you, Pagan, you were here earlier this morning, how does this compare to the Harvard one?
This compares a little bit different. I can't say it's the same. I really can't. The Harvard matchup was definitely intense, but you kind of had to wait to the end to that 285 weight class matchup in order to get that large amount of intensity. But this matchup right here, as soon as the Brown Bears come walking onto campus and right on Hempstead, it's so amazing to see because this really is the match that shows you intensity. Hofstra against Brown. So to answer your question, I do have to go with this one over the Harvard matchup.
And we've already got some action here at 174. Wadell tried to go big there with double overhooks and a trip, but Clearie caught him on his back. Could have been the end of the match.
And I think you could tell why I just presented that answer, Olivia. I think that piece of evidence kind of shows my point a little, not to toot my own horn.
Got the whole crowd go, ooh. It's 174. We got Matthew Wadell and Drew Clearie. Already pretty dynamic. So Clearie's going to get not just the takedown, but some near fall for that one. 5-0 your score right now. Minute 45 left, or minute 47 exactly, left in this first period as they get reset here. Center of the mat. Wadell trying to step over. Now getting picked up by Clearie.
There was a pick up and spin movement right there. that was definitely a quick maneuver that both athletes tried to produce in this matchup.
Brown coach is calling for Clearie to work cross wrist. You see that he's breaking down, chopping the arm on the side. They're calling for Clearie to take his left arm to the wrist. And he's going to do just that, getting a nice little lever there, using his head. Wadell's going to limp arm out of that. Going for that again on the arm. Referee's calling for a stall warning on Wadell, saying he needs to get active on bottom. Starting to build to his feet. Or not to his feet, because Clearie's got him in this. So he's going to get 4 near fall there. I don't know if that was 4, but now he's got a half on Wadell. If Clearie's able to walk, Wadell managed to avoid that one by looking the other way. Could have been really dangerous there. Score check, it is 9-0 for Clearie as we get towards end of this first period. Brown's going to defer. Wadell's choice, he's going to take bottom. Brown coaches telling Clearie to control Wadell's upper body. stay tight on him. Wadell tries to sit out there. Clear with that tight waist, pulling that arm. Gonna stay tight to the body. Try to catch Wadell once again for a tilt. Got nothing there.
Wadell also putting that corner to use, trying to see how he can either get out of the current hold.
Yeah, Wadell is really trying to trying to squirm his way out, getting a little creative there. Franco's upset on that call. He's like, that was an escape. But referee didn't call it as they went out of bounds on that one. So Wadell's going to get reset here in the center. Minute 25. Said 9-0 still your score. Wadell trying to get creative. Find his way out. Little early start there from Clearie. Wadell trying to break the lock here. Control hands. Big mat return from Clearie, but Wadell is able to roll through. Tried to push into him to cover on top, but wasn't able to. Clearie with over 3 minutes of riding time in this match. He's reaching across, trying to get to the wrist. Brown, like I said, or Hofstra, like I said, has one more home dual meet and then a tournament. Brown has 2 more duels for the Ivy League Championships. They got Sacred Heart for a familiar opponent to Hofstra in the EIWA. And then they finally wrestle Harvard. They're not wrestling here. They're wrestling in Rhode Island. But those two will match up in what'll be a good Ivy League duel.
Yeah, and in Hofstra's next home matchup, you've talked about this already, but they face the Big Ten opponent, opponent from a different conference, different league of play. You've got Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights are coming cross town all the way from Jersey, so that's going to be an interesting matchup for sure to see how Big Ten faces the EIWA.
Yeah, Hofstra wrestled Wisconsin earlier this season in quite the beatdown.
That was a rough one.
Going 0-41 at home. Been a while since Hofstra had been home. Last week against LIU was their first in the calendar year. The Big Ten, toughest wrestling conference. EIWA is up there though. It's a little less competitive now that the Ivy League has left. It's the second season that the Ivy League is not in the EIWA. A couple of powerhouse programs. Columbia is really great this season, but Penn and Princeton and Cornell have been solid. Cornell having 2 of the 4-time national champions.
Wrestling definitely showing its name and showing that it's the front runner in the Ivy League sports world for sure. You hear all these big name schools doing so well in the sport of wrestling, and you kind of wonder where it's going to go next for the Ivy League.
So Wadell's trying to get some exposure here on top. He will. He'll get 3 near fall for that. Narrowing up the score, 4-9 right now. You can see the effort on Wadell's face, really trying to get something to happen here against Clearie. Minute 15 left in this final period. It's a 174-pound match. Wadell's got to get active here on top, but not too active as he exposes himself, and Clearie's going to get the reversal. Jesse Delavecchia on his feet, trying to get Wadell to get moving. Less than a minute here. 11-4 your score. Wadell's up to his feet though. He'll get out for the escape, right to the attack. Coaches like that.
Talk about a head-on approach. That was something pretty intense there from from Wadell for sure.
The Clearie with a pretty straight shot there. Wadell sprawling out. Yeah, you had almost like a football drill on the side of the mat. They were trying to tackle him.
Especially in the corner, too, creating a tight space like that.
23 seconds left. 11-5, so Wadell would need more than a takedown. But we've seen in this match he's not afraid to go big, so stay tuned as he takes a shot. Covering, he's on top of Clearie. If he's able to control this, he's exposing him. We'll see if he gets any near fall. It's going to be at least a takedown, 8-11. And then he's going to get 3 for near fall. 11-11 is your score, but with riding time, it's going to go in favor of Clearie. Wow, a lot of action there right on the end of this match.
Something to note is that all of that high intensity action is always shown throughout an event like this, but specifically when you move down the card and you move down the list of weights, it's always interesting to see what happens next, and the intensity kind of raises as you get farther down the card.
We're going to look at this exchange from Wadell where he scored those 6 points. So takedown here, but he covers well, dropped his hips instead of getting thrown over. Tried to convert this to a pin, but was just unable to. They almost gave up the reversal, but that was time. So just a little too late there at 174 pounds. We're moving, we got Connor O'Donnell against Josh George here. Two pretty young guys, George, a freshman, O'Donnell, a sophomore. Got just one more match after this one today.
Things are starting to move quick here at the David S. Mack Physical Education Building.
It's a tight dual meet, 17-15. The score now. These two have been neck and neck. That would have been a really nice win for Wadell. Just help the team out a little bit with 3 points, but still anyone's duel. O'Donnell working a Russian here, but that's not going to be a problem for George as he passes him by. George, a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. His dad owns a gym here on the island. George coaches and teaches some of the classes there, pretty involved in that. So you'll see some trips and some throws from him today.
See a little Brazilian jiu-jitsu get used in the Division I wrestling outlet, which is always interesting to see a new approach of a different sport.
O'Donnell took the shot, but George sprawled out. Tried to get around, but O'Donnell caught him. He's got his leg locked here on the edge of the mat. Still in with that toe, out of bounds on that. Brown coaches, one of the Brown wrestlers jumping up and down. He's so into this match. This is turning into a very exciting dual meet. Very different than Harvard this morning. We've already said this. You can see the Brown bench here. Coaches are stressed. Wrestlers are into it. Minute 25 left in this first period. Still scoreless.
So much emotion and intensity here today. Definitely, the Brown versus Hofstra matchup is definitely separating itself from the Harvard versus Hofstra matchup.
Both these guys stood up for a second there, trying to work from space.
1
minute left. O'Donnell, the sophomore out of Wisconsin, was 10-5 last season, wrestling at 157 pounds, so he's moved up a couple weight classes. George on a shot there, but O'Donnell kicks his leg to avoid getting taken down there.
Last season, O'Donnell also went 1-0 in Ivy competition and 2-0 in dual matches, totaled 4 falls to his name throughout the entire season last year.
Getting to short time in this first period. Still scoreless, but we've seen some sparks from these two as start to get into it there.
We've seen some fireworks get set off for sure. It's not the 4th of July just yet. We got to get through winter, but we've seen a nice preview.
Franco telling George to defer, meaning he'll get choice to start the third period. George covering here. He's got spiral ride. It's going to be an escape for O'Donnell. First points on the board. George dropped down to the leg there on upper body now. These two was 50-50 for a second, but O'Donnell with the throw, having double overhooks. Caught George on his back after George tried to go big.
Brown's bench is up right now.
George was able to belly out though and avoid the pin. But you're right, that was exciting for the Brown crew. So that's going to be a takedown and near fall for O'Donnell, make it 8-0. So he's starting to create some distance in this match. Halfway through the second period. Could have gone, that's the risk with going upper body like George did there, is you feel really comfortable with double underhooks. If your opponent knows to get those double overs, can get caught there. You see that a lot in Greco. When I wrestled, that was my favorite style.
What about that made it your favorite style?
I really enjoyed wrestling upper body. I did a lot of throws, some trips here and there. I worked out of Russian a lot. I really enjoy, if you were to ask me like who were some of my favorite wrestlers to watch on Hofstra, like Noah Tapia is one of my favorites just because he does so much with Greco. You see Shipp doing some of that too. In the past, I've enjoyed watching all of Hofstra. Not to be cheesy, it's my senior night. I'll do a little thank you at the end, but I've been covering this team for all 4 years I've been here now, whether that be on the radio or in print or photo. Back to the match at hand. George tried to get to his feet to get that escape, but they'll go out of bounds. Once again, 16 seconds left in this second period.
Something that Brown is really doing here that I've taken note of is a lot of their guys are very head-on wrestlers. You know, they don't want to waste time. They do have that patience aspect about them, but then again, they want to win as their ultimate goal, and they'll move fast no matter what and in every approach and opportunity that they get.
O'Donnell tries to catch George here. He is going to put some points on the board. 10-0 your score entering this third period. So we've been saying you need 15 points ahead of your opponent to reach tech fall, but as of right now, O'Donnell has at least secured the win by major decision that put the Bears up 4 more points, make it 17-19, and so it really would come down to this 197 matchup. We've got ranked number 15 Andrew Reall against Will Conlin. George with the reversal though, keep himself in this match.
Perhaps some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was unlocked there on that fold back takedown. You see, that's my vocabulary of it, but I think that's definitely something transferable that you can see, and it's so interesting to watch these guys pull all these tools out of their belt and see what they can use from all these different styles of martial arts into wrestling.
Of course, earlier we were talking about Semenenko and the judo. See that transfer sometimes. George, the local guy, has found his way into the starting lineup a lot this season at 184 pounds. Kind of an opening for Hofstra after Ross McFarland, the NCAA qualifier for the Pride, graduated last season. Got a minute left in this third period. We had a stall warning. 1 more point for O'Donnell there. Make it 3-11. I mean, 2:11, excuse me. Riding time not going to be a factor in this one. George on a shot. Locking around the leg. Going to try to turn the corner. He's hooked the leg. He's almost there if he can get his head out. That's going to be a takedown. Make it 5:11. 25 seconds left. See what the Hofstra bench calls for. They're going to have George give up that escape. 5:12 your score now, but George is going to go on the offense. About 10 seconds left. He's working really hard for that takedown there. Starting to pick up the pace. Wish you had seen this all match. He'll get another takedown, but it's not going to be enough time. As your final score, 12-8. 3 more points go on the board for the Bears. It all comes down to 197 pounds in this final match.
197 is our last part.
We're gonna look at that takedown from George as he got to work. The very end of this match, spent the whole match waiting, but started to pick it up. Just followed really well as O'Donnell tried to run away. Like you said, it all comes down to this.
197. You've got a ranked wrestler from Brown. Got the Alabama native, Will Conlin. And you've got number 15 ranked in the country, Andrew Reall from Brown University. Reall as a ranked wrestler, definitely showing a lot of intensity on this first approach here against Conlin.
Conlin coming off of a win against Hudson Scove of Harvard, win by decision. Where Reall also coming off of a nice win earlier today over over number 32 Jack Waymeyer of Columbia. Both of these being decided by decision. Conlin wrestled different Columbia wrestler earlier this season. Asalius. Falling in that one, but looks to get a win over another Ivy opponent today.
Reall finished last season with a 12-16 record at 184 pounds, 2-7 record to his name against Ivy League competition, and 4-5 in dual meets, totaled only 2 tech falls last year. Something to note about these Ivy League competitions real quick, the statistics get really high when these guys want to put numbers on the board, and a lot of defensive tactics are being used.
Conlin showed a lot of promise in his first season with Hofstra. Looked really good last season too. Was planning to redshirt, then got injured, so needed that time anyway. This season, though, he's been on a really good timeline. See, it's that left leg. He's got the brace on, but he's steadily improved. The major thing for him was getting his cardio back, getting back in shape. Reall gets the takedown here. Putting points on the board. These two roll out of bounds. 32 seconds on the clock. Reall leading 3-0. Conlin reset here on bottom. Gets to his feet. Reall trying to return him to the mat. Conlin trying to go big, go for the roll. Gets into this position. See if he's able to work out of this. Conlin has been getting stuck a little bit on bottom this season. It's part of coming back from that injury. Hard to move with a brace like that. I've worn a brace, the same brand of brace, but on my arm. Hard to move with that extra weight sometimes.
a brace like that locks everything in place and kind of keeps you really stiff, and that's hard during competition because you don't have all that freedom to move around all that often.
Like I said, Conlin's been adjusting well as the season's gone on. Moved up to 197 pounds after starting his career at 184. Can tell he's kind of put on some muscle since the season before. So we're going to start this second period. Conlin on top. Reall leading 3-0. Conlin trying to get to that elbow for a chop, but Reall's going to work out of that one. Make it 4-0. So they're back on their feet here. Conlin tries to throw the arm by and get to a leg. Little snap there. I like the aggression from Conlin.
Especially after, mentioning his struggle of being stuck on that bottom position for a long point this whole season, really probably even throughout the entire year, you could say. It's always great to see his quick responses.
Conlin had a rush in there for a second. Reall with the collar tie. Woo. Conlin got a little bit frazzled there, and Reall took that as an opportunity to just shoot in, drive him over. 7-0 your scorer as Conlin gets back to his feet for that escape. Reall now getting to work. Now, if you're either wrestler and you just watched the end of the 184 match, maybe I need to get to work a little bit earlier. Get my energy out.
Time cannot be wasted.
Yeah. About 25 seconds left in this second period. 7-1 still your score. Once again, the dual meet comes down to this match. The winner will win it for their team. Reall with a shot attempt there. But if you're Hofstra, you have to be walking away from today going, we had some good matches.
Yeah.
Some nice little wins. Shipp really showed out today as he's on this win streak, peaking at the right time of the season. And some other Hofstra wrestlers have a good showing. But this is, if I had to say, down the lineup, some of their better matches. LAU was the best they've wrestled all season, obviously getting the win there. But in general, they're starting to improve. Super young team, so they've needed some time to mature.
Absolutely there, and a lot of youth in this program. Head coach Jamie Franco really does an amazing job in mentoring these guys. I mean, as Hofstra being his alma mater, he knows how the program works. He has that advantage, and he overall really wants to try to give back to the younger generation and mentor them. And I mean, really, as far as Hofstra's schedule goes, this is one of those better matchups, one of those better duels, as you said. This one against Brown University for sure. But LIU was definitely the mark of being back home. And as I was there covering it, you got to see it because Hofstra was definitely in that loss column for a little bit. And then they started racking up the W's as soon as they came back home.
So Conlin got the escape there, but Reall getting aggressive towards the end of this match. 10-3 your score. About a minute left in this third period. Reall on the leg, gonna try to bring Conlin in. Reall's also got a minute riding time, and he'll get another takedown. Starting to really separate himself in this match. Like we said, a win would secure the win for Brown. Conlin now having to fix his brace for a second here. But you're right, Franco has done a really good job of coaching some of these younger guys, helping them adjust to college wrestling. It's normally a pretty big jump. He's brought in 2 very young assistant coaches. One of them like about 2 or 3 years out of college, really. And they've been super helpful for the guys to see what it's like. Like, hey, we just wrestled it. We know it. We were just there. We've been in your shoes. Here's what you need to do. So lots of room for these guys to grow. Reall on the front headlock here, putting a lot of pressure on Conlin. He'll get another takedown. Let's Conlin up right away. 5:16 your score. Really short time here in the third period. Reall trying to pick up the pace. And he'll put it away. And so that will be a win for the Bears. 21-17 over Hofstra. Pagan, what did you see today?
I saw a lot of intensity. I saw a lot of strength between both of these teams, and also just seeing how Hofstra can show up and show out on senior night is definitely something to recognize. Olivia, being senior night, I know that this was considered your senior night broadcast. You've been covering this wrestling team a great amount, and you've done it remarkably these past 4 years, and I'm honored to be a part of your senior night broadcast for sure.
Thank you. We're going to look at the stats for this matchup, and then I'm going to get cheesy for a second, but maybe we'll see how this one went. Yeah, so you're going to see your final score, 22-17, 6-4. Brown led in individual matches, led in takedowns 15-9. But Hofstra with those escapes, 16-11, total match points being 82-65. So nice little close duel here to end this busy day here in Hempstead. Looking at those individual results, you see wins for Hofstra at 125 pounds, 133 pounds, 141, and then up at 165. See a couple of ranked guys in there, but overall really solid showing for the Pride. So here's where I get really cheesy. I've been covering the Hofstra team in all 4 years here. Wrestling is something I'm super passionate about since I started wrestling as a middle schooler, and I've loved seeing it grow both on the women's side and on the men's side. It has been just an honor to cover this team through 2 head coaches, through lots of staff changes. I've loved calling these. I've had multiple parents come up and say thank you for calling these, and that means the world to me. So, and thank you to everyone who showed up and who's tuned into these broadcasts. Trying to grow the sport is a huge thing for me. So thank you so much. Keep tuning in, keep watching wrestling. Go Pride.
Absolutely, Olivia. Thank you for always being a great mentor to me. You taught me so much about the sport. Thank you to just overall, taking me under your wing and just showing me every single thing that you know. You truly were a great support system throughout this whole process.
Thank you to our crew today, and that's going to do it. So double dual meet down. We're going to look at some highlights to end the night, but Hofstra's next matchup is going to be against Rutgers on Wednesday. That Big Ten EIWA duel is going to be nationally broadcasted, but it will also be here on Flow Sports and YouTube. Once again, I'm Olivia Hilstead, joined by Aiden Pagan. Make sure to tune in on Wednesday.